Yo, what's good, Rohan? What's good, Drek? So apparently I'm gonna try to do some kind of TikTok recipe. And apparently involves instant noodles. I could say the other word, but it kind of sounds weird if I say it out loud. So we got a pot over there, which we'll get the noodles prepared for, and then what's good, Adrian? Thank you for the follow. How you doing? Oh, cool. Dragon making potato croquettes. How are you gonna like do the deep frying thing and whatnot, or do you have like frozen ones? Another thing we'll be doing is we'll be making another tart. We're gonna do this preparation of holding it down with some rice instead of my baking dish, the dish that we used last time. So these should be able to hold some weight down. We're gonna go ahead and get this dough prepared, get it preheated and everything. Hey, what's up, Maffy? How you doing? So this is what the shell looks like right now. I just need to puncture some holes into it though, so that way we can be able to get the shell to... When we need to do the egg wash treatment later, whatever filling we put in here doesn't like permeate completely through this. Plus it can also release some steam as it's baked. Still awake from last night? You didn't sleep at all, Maffy? Of course, it's not going to look perfect. This is how we can be able to do it for now. And then we place the baking rice on top. Let me just double check how long we have to. I think it was like 35 minutes that we have to bake it for. Yeah, so we're gonna get this popped in for 35 minutes, and yeah, that's understandable, man. If that's understandable, don't force yourself to stay up. So while the pastry dough is being heated up in the meantime, we'll go ahead and get this other recipe going, which is something that I wouldn't recommend making unless you're really hungover, hence why I think this is mostly a hangover recipe. So I did some prep work beforehand. Managed to do some candy lemon slices for the recipe, as well as doing some, I think, what would you call this? Julienne? Some roasted, not roasted, some sun-dried tomatoes. Otherwise, how's everybody else doing today? How is everybody else doing? As always, stay hydrated. So we got some sandwich bread here, and we got some cheese. Anything with cheese and carbs, y'all know it's actually for a hangover, but this is a recipe I saw lately on, floating around on YouTube, but also because, the creator of this recipe is kinda at a feud with Gordon Ramsay, and I'm sure y'all know who this individual, this owner of this recipe is. I'm loosely following his, directions from original TikTok video. He wasn't specific on directions, but at least I had visuals to memorize some cues off of. Once the noodles are a bit past al dente, this is when we should actually strain the water out and get them used for the next step. Get them ready for the next step, I mean. Y'all can't see it much, but there is steam coming out of here. I think for the most part we're probably good if we use just half of this, and the rest of it we can probably save up. So according to the owner of the recipe, we have to slap a couple slices of this into this pot with the noodles, but I'm gonna divide up the noodles first so we can get a good amount of them, but not too much of them, because we're not gonna finish all of this in one sitting. So I'd say we have a good enough of what we want to use here. Maybe I can move a little bit more. I think this should be good. So, the rest of the leftovers, you don't want to like waste this. You could probably like fry it up into something or just add some sauce or your favorite fixins. I think to this I'm gonna add a little bit of oil, and then we're gonna throw in the seasoning of this packet for the noodles, and as well as the, I don't know if the cheese can really work, but if it melts well in here, it melts well in here, so. Speaking of hangovers, does anybody here have a hangover food that they would like to eat? And I see it with the PogChamps, Drac. I see it with the PogChamps. You don't have any? Well, it has to be something with carbs and fat, dude. Apparently this is like deli American cheese slices, and something that's very particular about American cheese is that it has the type of salt known as sour salt or sodium citrate, which allows it to like melt in a very interesting way. So I'm gonna break this apart and see what the heck happens in the pot. I think the main advantage that the owner of the recipe had with his pot when making this is that he had, I think, a non-stick pot. Even though I put in some oil, well, there's still some major. You'll know it. I'm gonna add another half of this. Actually, let me just do a taste test to see how this still holds up. Tastes like a sandwich cheese, but definitely a little bit better than Kraft's than the last time I had Kraft's. This is how it looks so far. The only thing we need to add left is just the seasoning, and we can start to assemble this weird TikTok creation that I decided to make on a whim. At least it's quicker to assemble this together than the tart. Can't forget the seasoning. Every single instant noodle seasoning always has some form of MSG in it, and MSG, as y'all know, is the king of flavor. Apparently the packet doesn't want to open on its own. There's no shame in using scissors to open this. Sometimes these literally can't open up properly. Okay, I think this looks the way we want it to look. Now we just have to assemble this monstrosity together. And to heat it up, instead of doing the pan frying thing, we can easily just use a panini press. That's why I decreased the amount of noodles, because if we put too much noodles into this, it's going to pour out way out on the sides. And also, the extra noodles could really be put to better use, honestly. And also because I'm very worried about how heavy this sandwich is going to be. This is why I've taken the extra precautions to add in some sliced sun-dried tomatoes, as well as apparently Giada De Laurentiis from Food Network had this idea to put in lemon slices in grilled cheese sandwiches. I don't know if that's going to help here in this case, but we're going to go ahead and find out and see. Who knows? Maybe it actually will be a revelation, a culinary revelation in hangover food making. Alright, so I'm gonna just assemble it right here, get it plugged in, and then we could all see and marvel at whatever the heck this is gonna be. Just so you guys, I can quickly demonstrate to you guys how we're going to assemble it. Actually, this should be okay since we're not going to be using the air fryer today, so... And of course, to prevent stickage, if your air fryer is not going to be non-stick, or like your griddle thing, such as a waffle iron or a panini press, is not non-stick, always spray it down and stuff. Yeah, no problem, Maffy. Thank you so much for stopping on by. Don't force yourself for staying up and whatnot. So let's go ahead and spray down the press.
Bruh.
Okay, so Those lemon slices are the first layer on there, and then imagine having a nice cook, hang out, and so invited Gordon Ramsay. No, definitely no, you don't want to do that. That's the last thing you want happening. Okay, so what we've done is that we put the lemon layers down, we put in the cheesy noodle layers down. We're gonna top it off with the sun-dried tomatoes, put the top bread on, and we'll panini it and see how it turns out. Also, one thing is that when you're working with a panini press, don't plug it in right away because it gets very, very hot. It was almost at the peak temperature when I got like my finger touched it, so keep that in mind. Got a little bit of morsel that came out as a stowaway from the press, so let's see how this tastes on its own. Oh, that is very... It tastes like what a college student would eat. I mean, it's not a bad thing either, because, like, it's an acceptable flavor profile. It's just that, we'll just see what happens once it all comes together. And I'm also hoping that putting in the lemon slices as well as the sun-dried tomatoes will help to cut down the richness of this sandwich. As I thought, there's a mount of an explosion, but that doesn't mean the explosion shouldn't have, would not have some kind of flavor to it. This thing over here still has like some kind of a noodle skirt here. Kind of interesting in terms of presentation. Let me just trim it a little bit so we can make it a little bit prettier. And also, spraying the press down really helps. It helps to make it a really good non-stick surface. You have a crust over here, so we might as well taste test to see how it turns out. Oh no, you haven't, Drac. You can post it. You can share it. This is actually a type of flavor I've never experienced before. But it's actually really interesting. After a teensy bit of careful trimming, this is what they look like. Hey, Sheena, how you doing? What's up? What's good? What's good? How have you been? Alright, looks like the tart is almost ready. It's got like 5 minutes left for before it pops out and is ready and stuff. How have you been since I last saw you? Wait, Sheena, you know that's a bot account, right? You know that's a robot? Does nobody use the word mecha anymore? It's a robot account, lol. I actually don't have it anymore, Sag Times. You mean you don't have the Omurice anymore? Oh, you don't have the picture of the Omurice anymore. I still want to say hi. It's all good, it's all good. I've been I think a lot of people have been especially during these times. This may not be like the prettiest sandwich I've ever made, but there is an interesting complex flavor profile we got going on here with the lemons and the I actually need to just try this with the sun-dried tomatoes. This is going to be very interesting.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, Jesse May, how you doing? Came right on time for me to taste test my first creation today, which is this panini press sandwich I made with this is like a TikTok recipe I took. Basically, we took some instant noodles and blended them with some sandwich cheese, used some sun-dried tomatoes and some candy lemons in this as well, and we're about to see how it tastes. And yeah, that's basically what it is, Sheena. How have I been? I've been all over the place, pretty much. Just need to get my second vaccination pretty soon. This is very interesting. This is a very interesting sandwich. I think I know what's wrong. Lemons, I feel like since we use a different kind of cheese, the flavor of the lemons don't really highlight well with the cheese that we use here. But the sun-dried tomatoes really helps to cut it back a little bit, though. I don't know, it tastes pretty average. Not the worst thing I've had. How did I feel after the first dose? Arm was feeling sore. Relatively sleepy. Did you get vaccinated yet, Jesse May? I wonder when I put the last message I sent last time I was here. I mean, I could look at that for you, but would be pretty interesting how long ago you probably sent that last message. Have you been working lately, Sheena? Yeah, sounds like the tart shell is just about ready. Alright, so this is how the shell looks. Once it popped it out and whatnot. We just need to probably... a bunch of cracks here and there, but then again, this is not the most perfect dough. We're gonna let this cool down for a little bit, probably let it heat up a little bit more, and then we're gonna make the filling for it. Yeah, this is a cocoa shell. This is a new kind of tart shell that I'm experimenting with. I think I'll go ahead and get this heated up for maybe like another few minutes or so. So I'll pop this back in for another 5 minutes. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is the filling I'm going to try out this time around is a mascarpone matcha whipped topping, whipped filling for it. For that, of course, we're going to need some mascarpone. And because I need to use the cream, the thing is with using whipped cream in recipes that require whipped cream is that in order for it to make the stiff peaks that you're looking for better, you should actually make sure that the cream component is cold, but also at the same time I'm gonna try to see if we can smooth out this mascarpone. I've had it like, because this is also a cheese component, you don't want to like let it sit out for too long so it goes rotten. So I had to like put it back and forth between the fridge. So it's like I guess a reasonable texture, but we'll see. I just need to do some whipping for it.
Hi, how are you?
Yo, what's good, Hotbox? How you doing? Why don't you give yourself a shout out, my dude? So we're gonna make sure. I think the remainder of that container is just the 1 cup of mascarpone cheese that we need. And to this, I'm gonna add in some sugar, vanilla, and we're also gonna add in that matcha as well. No, you don't have to feel bad. Everybody has different lives to live. It's all good. I understand. Mascarpone cheese, it has a really minimal flavor. Like, it's not completely sweet, it's not completely salty either. It's very milky. But it's often used in tiramisu and some cheesecake recipes. So we're gonna make sure to get this whipped up, and then we're gonna go ahead and do another bowl with the whipped cream, the sugar, and everything else, and then we're gonna go ahead and fold both mixtures together, and then we'll add the matcha in last. I mean, anybody's kitchen can feel so cozy. So this is what the cheese looks like, the mascarpone looks like once we blended it a little bit. I didn't put it on too high of speed, otherwise it's gonna splatter all over the place. Then again, when you're making sweets, your kitchen's gonna end up being a mess anyways. Alright, no problem, Sheena. I'll be on for a little bit for tonight, and hopefully I'll catch you around. If not, we can always hit each other up on Discord. Yeah, that's definitely possible. You're probably right about that. All right, so usually I use the bigger bowl for whipped cream for whipped topping. So into this we're going to add 3/4 cups of cold cream. We're going to add maybe 2.5 tablespoons, 3 tablespoons of sugar, and then we're going to add in some vanilla extract as well. And don't forget, folks, to save yourself the time of measuring vanilla extract, you could just use the cap. The cap is just literally 1 teaspoon, and just use the cap to put in a drop of vanilla extract that way. Otherwise, you could just eyeball this thing. We're gonna let the tart shell cool down a bit, then I could give it the good old-fashioned egg wash treatment. And then after that, we're gonna heat that thing up, turn down the heat with the egg wash treatment, so that way the egg wash can seal it in. I think the darker colors, my kitchen feels old. I think I've seen your kitchen at least once, Jesse May. Probably when I was lurking in one of your, I think when you did your own cooking session. Oh no, I was saying I was lurking some time ago in one of your cooking sessions. I can imagine why you said you feel like your kitchen is very old, because a lot of kitchens are just modeled like that, like in the old days. So. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and get this cream whipped up. Let's also not make sure to forget to add in the sugar. In my case, I'm using a mix of brown and white sugar because, no, we don't really use so much white sugar nowadays here. I think probably just 2 tablespoons will be fine, honestly. I feel like 3 tablespoons might be a little bit too sweet for this. The whipped topping is almost right where we want it, the right consistency. I just need a taste test to make sure that we have enough sugar in this. I'll just add half a tablespoon more of sugar. And we should be good to go. Alright, so once we have all the whipped cream constituted and whatnot, we're gonna go ahead and fold in our mascarpone cheese into this. So now it looks like this, but I think I'm probably gonna have to blend this together in order to actually be constituted. But we're gonna try our best to make sure this is well incorporated though, because the spatula is not gonna do enough for this. Right, it looks like both mixtures are incorporated really well together. Now I just need to get a... I think I'm going to divide this in half because I think we only just need a half of this for the tart. The rest of it we can probably save for a different dessert. Otherwise, how's everybody else doing? I need to hydrate real quick first. Okay, so we still have a good portion of the whipped topping left, so I'll go ahead and add the final component, the matcha, to this. Apparently we have like a bunch of this topping left. This is definitely good for a lot of different desserts. Oh yeah, before I forget, we need to do the egg wash thing. So we gotta crack open ourselves an egg, apply the egg wash to the tart shell, heat the tart shell up with the egg wash, and then we'll go ahead and have that cool for a bit, and then we can put in the filling. I can't crack an egg with one hand, but I could try. Yeah, I can't do that. Dude can dream, though. A dude can dream, though. A lot of times in Asian bakeries, they tend to apply the egg wash method a lot, and a lot of other pastry recipes require the egg wash as well. And a lot of times people will wonder, well, what the heck do I do with a leftover egg for the egg wash? Well, you can go ahead and eat it. You can use the egg wash for other recipes. You can... I think that's the main difficulty when it comes to struggling with leftover ingredients that you have that you don't know what to do with anymore. Simply because they already fulfill their purpose, and you have to be resourceful in how you want to use them. Alright, so now that the egg here is beaten, we're gonna go ahead and apply this to the tart shell to give it that extra coating. And then once we're done applying the wash to the shell, we just need to, hold on. Oh, it had 2 yolks? Yo, that's pretty pogs. I haven't, I think that only happened to me once in my life. So we're gonna just lower the temperature down to 280 degrees Fahrenheit and then heat this up for another 5 minutes to let the egg wash harden up. And that's what it looks like. I'm trying to be very careful with this shell because it's a kind of a very, very, very delicate shell. One thing you'll notice is that when you bake a shell, if you probably get just the right size when you place it in your pan, your tray of choice at first, it will shrink. That's natural. So long as you properly greased your pan, your baking pan, it will come out really easily like it actually applied here. So Alright, so we're gonna let the shell heat up. After we finish letting it cool, we can go ahead and apply the mascarpone whipped filling. with matcha, I still need to add matcha to this because I still need to determine how much of the... I think we have enough filling, honestly. I can just apply the matcha to this. Well, so here's an interesting thing I used. Baking. Well, if you have baking beans, or in this case I used some rice, be sure to save them. Recycle them for the next time you need to bake with them. Because once you use beans and rice for the purpose of preventing a piece of dough from rising, you can't eat them. They can only be used for the purpose of baking. So that's what I'm going to be storing this here for. Actually, since we got some extra noodles here, might as well do something with this along with the egg. And as you're winding down to the end of your cooking session, always remember to put away everything and anything you don't need anymore. That's what I'm trying to do right now. I think I use the remainder of my noodles to cook it down with the remaining egg that I have. Just to be resourceful and everything, you know? Because we can't let every single piece of food go to waste. After all, I still have some instant toppings, as well as some seasoning oil. And a teensy bit of... Actually, I could just use regular. Yo, what's good, Amrit? Well, I made a bunch of stuff today, Amrit. We're about to finish up a tart shell. I made a weird sandwich that I took from a TikTok recipe earlier, and I'm just taking some leftover ingredients and just making them edible. Alright, and to this, I'm just gonna throw in the sesame seeds and the leftover instant noodle toppings. Alright, no problem, Jesse May. Thank you so much for stopping on by. And I appreciate the lurk. Okay, so as anybody can see here, this is the tart shell that has had the egg wash being baked into it. We'll let this cool down for a bit, and then we could go ahead and apply the whipped topping to that as soon as it's cool and all that good stuff. For now, I need to grab a fork and try this other creation I made. I think I'll add in the extra soy sauce. Honestly, it can make a difference to add in the teensy bit, little bit of soy sauce. Pairs pretty well with eggs too. Food Hacks 101. Well, it's true that all we made today is basically, mostly carbs and fat on top of other carbs and fat. What other kind of recipe wouldn't be made of carbs and fat? Oh, why is the oven timer glowing like that? You mean, that's the actual clock, actually. Yeah, probably so, Hotbox. So apparently, even though I have some whipped topping in here, I might need a little bit more, so... And so to this, we're gonna add in, I think we're gonna add in probably half a teaspoon of matcha. Because a whole teaspoon is probably gonna be way too OP, so this is the good stuff we're gonna add. Since we don't need to do any more over mixing, we're just gently folding the matcha into the whipped topping. And right now it's turning as green as the owner of the swamp. Which is exactly what we're looking for. Also, it's probably going to be turning as green as Hotbox's name. Or Hotbox's color. Lettuce green? Sounds about right, dude. Sounds about right. Okay, I think this color scheme looks just about right, too. This looks like a mint green? Heck yeah, it does. Alright, so now I'm trying to make this look as pretty as possible. And thank you for the hydration, Rohan. I'll get to it in a bit. I think we're gonna keep it like this. We're gonna freeze this, and it should be able to solidify enough for it to be constituted and come together. Then you also make sure to get this cleaned up a little bit on the edge so that way it looks pretty enough when it comes out. Alright, so that just wraps up whatever we have to do today for this session. We just make sure that to go over my checklist. We did the sandwich. We took care of the noodles. We did the tart. Which I'll probably get a picture for later. I think it's going to be decent enough. I think. Oh yeah, Hotbox, do you happen to have, thanks for stopping by as well. Do you happen to have work today, I'm guessing? Pretty nice of you to stop on by, for sure, for sure. I haven't seen you around often in these, sessions. Oh yeah, it's all good, Hotbox. It's all good. It's all Gucci. I think we're just about to wrap it up for this session anyways. Oh yeah, Rohan, if you're still there, are you gonna be farming later tonight? Most likely? Alright, definitely, for sure. Okay, I think we might go to intermission before this camera dies out. And just so we could get things organized around here too. I might not be able to get to tell you guys how the heck the tart went because of course we have to give it time to chill. It needs to set and everything. But I'm going over to intermission, and if anybody needs to lurk while I switch things up and get my microphone situated and everything, feel free to go ahead and do so, but otherwise, we'll go ahead and BRB in a bit.